Update 2. Am I the a-hole for telling my mom that I will respect my dad's girlfriend more than my stepdad? This is part 2 of the story. You can watch the first part by clicking the card above or the link in the description. Second update. I know my post has been viral on Best of Reddit updates. The reposter asked for my permission for it, and I want to thank her, because she, along with many others, have defended my father from people who lack brain cells, in my opinion. I was really disappointed in the people who are calling my dad a deadbeat. Some even said that he mistreated my mom, that he has always been an alcoholic, that he was a gambler and a serial cheater. Some even said that my dad should never have custody of me because he was a screw-up. You guys seriously make me question humanity. Here is a guy who sacrificed everything for his daughter, put his own life on hold so that I do not have to feel uncomfortable. And all you guys have is nothing but criticism for him? Shame on you guys for berating someone who had already been through enough. I choose to forgive my dad because he acknowledged his mistakes. Also, he wasn't even that big of an alcoholic. He never had any drinking problem prior to the affair of my mom. Usually, he used to drink in silence, and never in front of me. That was the only freaking time he let himself go. Can't you guys just look past it? Or are you guys so petty that you are turning a blind eye on his sacrifices? And no, my dad is not a crappy dad at all. I guess you cannot please everyone. People are just going to draw their own conclusion. Also, please don't insult my intelligence by saying I don't know what happened. Over the last 7 years, I've been driving myself crazy over it. I asked my mom why she did it. I even asked if my dad was a bad husband or abusive, and she denied both of those claims. Also, recently I went through the same tragedy as my dad. I found out that my boyfriend of 2 years was cheating on me with my friend. I understand my dad more now that I am literally walking in his shoes. I'm really devastated. I still cry a lot because of the betrayal I felt from those two people. My dad has tried everything to cheer me up, and I am not in contact with my mom. And I just opened Reddit to keep my mind out of the complications in my life, but looking at how people are literally dragging my dad through the mud just made me angry. Now for the comments before reading the last update. There are always trolls in here, OP. I feel both you and your dad have done a very good job at turning the difficult corners of your life. It is commendable he only turned to despair for 1 year. He is only human. Ignore those who called him deadbeat, / alcoholic, etc. As you know and we know it's not the truth. When the trolls hit the same betrayal, then they will feel it too. Actually, for your dad to pull himself up from alcohol in such a short time is also commendable. You are right to be proud of him. Try to pick selective reading. Read only the good ones and ignore the disturbing ones. Now, I hope to hear good news about your dad, his girlfriend, and you, okay? Take care. My dad is sad because I am sad. We are supposed to go to Disneyland next week. Now I'm not excited anymore. I've always wanted to go there, and my dad promised on my 9th birthday that he would take me. That didn't happen, as you know why. Finally, he wanted to take me there after saving some money, but I don't think I will be able to enjoy it now. I can't even ask him to cancel it because he planned this trip for us for the last 2 years. He is still with his girlfriend. She did visit me yesterday and we talked. As for my mom, I am not talking to her now. It is just too much to handle all at once. Just go no contact with your mother, as she will cause you more sadness. If you were to ask my advice, for now just get a part-time job. Go to the gym, jogging, and find some hobby, as you are suffering because of your mother and your ex-boyfriend and ex-friend. You need to go out and find something. Just be happy. Well, I'm trying. My dad planned to take me to Disneyland next week, but I don't think I can enjoy it. Part of me wants to tell my dad to cancel it, but then again he would lose a lot of money. I always wanted to go there, but now I just can't get excited. OP, you seem like you have a good head on your shoulders. Please do not take any haters of your dad seriously. Ignore the trolls. The haters do not know what you and your dad went through, do not know your day-to-day activities, and may be projecting too much. Keep being strong, proud of you, and wishing you the best going forward. Also, wear your sunscreen. The last one made me laugh. Thanks. I will. Now for the last update. A lot of you have messaged me and asked to keep you guys updated. So, before I update, I want to thank those of you who have come to show support for me and my dad. I have read or tried to read your messages and comments. And honestly, those positive messages really got to me. I was not upset by the trolls. Also, I had beef with few of them too, but if I ever said something bad, then please forgive me. I'm still a little sad. Anyways, back to the update. Well, from my last post, you guys can see that I have in fact been cheated on. It is funny because in my first post, I mentioned that the last time I had a fight with my stepdad, I told him I hope his son gets cheated on, so he knows how that feels. And now here I am losing my boyfriend and my friend because they stabbed me in the back. I guess it is karma. The breakup is still fresh in my mind. I still cry sometimes thinking about it, but I am glad I have my other friends, and obviously my dad with me, so I can hope I will be fine. And yes, I did end up going to Disneyland with my dad, and we had a lot of fun. But my dad ended up becoming sick after we came back for a little while. He is better now. I guess he had some bad food on the trip. Otherwise, he is fine. I finally spoke to my mom. She came to visit me at my dad's house. My dad rarely sees her, so he was also shocked to see her. She looked a bit out of place, as if she was entering Narnia. She wanted to talk to me and my dad. Dad went inside his room to give us some privacy to talk. Then we sat down. She apologized to me for acting so irrationally and never taking my feelings into account. I don't know what happened, but I asked her if she ever felt any guilt for cheating on my dad. She cried and said that she has always been guilty of how things ended between my dad and her. She didn't go much into details, but at the same time, my dad and her were having some marriage problems. She and dad wanted to work things out, but she was still feeling empty. Then, my stepdad came and she found an escape from her life with him. She said she was selfish. She wanted to have it all, but she knew someday her lies will be caught, and it did. She mentioned that she and dad have grown distant because of the affair. She does regret and wishes she could have handled it better. She has spent 7 years or more with my stepdad, but deep down she still had feelings for my dad. Some days she even wakes up and guilt washes over her. She regrets ever starting the affair. The problem was not my dad nor my stepdad. The problem was her, and she knows she has messed up a lot. I also opened up to her about my struggles in life, how I had to deal with the downfall of their marriage, and how it has affected me over the last few years. I wish she had just ended things in a good way, rather than introducing a man that has become the bane of my existence. I wish he hadn't pushed me to accept him, knowing the pain it cost both me and my dad, and he doesn't even seem to feel any remorse. She cried heavily this time and said she knows now how wrong it was, but she thought that if I accepted my stepdad, then the affair wouldn't look so bad on her. I wanted to tell her that she was stupid, and that's not how it works. I then asked her why she was so obsessed with Layla, my dad's girlfriend, and she told me that ever since their divorce, there has always been a little spark of hope that someday her and dad would be together. She knows it is foolish for her to think that, but her subconscious mind was telling her that she and dad are the endgame. But learning that he has moved on and started dating just freaked her out. I told her that is BS, because she was the one who married her affair partner and went on to have a family with him. It is so disgusting and immoral for her to even think that, especially after she was the one who cheated and left. If she still thinks that she has a chance with dad, then she is either delusional or simply stupid. She doesn't get to dictate how others feel and doesn't get to control what I feel. She says she understands and has been a mess for a long time. She opens up about her own marital situation, which is not good at the moment. I also shared my story of being cheated on. She tried to hug me and said it will be okay, but it just made me angry. I told her I don't need her sympathy now, especially in matters of cheating. I do love her as a mother. I am grateful that she has cared for me and especially being honest with me about the situation. But I do not want to talk to her now. I want to go low contact until she sorts things that are messed up with her. She needs therapy, and she only should focus on my half-brother. After our conversation ended, my mom and dad talked in his room. I didn't try to eavesdrop or tried to listen, so I do not know what they talked about. But after coming out of the room, my mom looked very defeated. After that, we talked a little and she bid us goodbye. I did tell her that I want her in my graduation and other big events, but I want to have some boundaries when it comes to my stepdad. So that closes the mom chapter for a while. And yes, my dad knows about my mom's meltdown, and that's why I wanted to talk to her in private. I don't think this issue is solved here. I honestly laughed a little because my dad and mom has not been in contact for a long time, and he should know. On the bright side, I did get to meet Layla's kids. Ever since my dad became sick, she has been coming frequently to cook or clean. Sometimes she would bring her kids, and I do enjoy playing with them. I always wish to have siblings, and now I have 3. Hopefully this will be my last update. I honestly thank anyone who has given me some good advice and comments. I hope you guys have a lovely life, and thank you so much for the support. Good on your mom for finally looking at this from another perspective and accepting and apologizing for your experience rather than focusing solely on her own. I think going low contact with her makes sense though. Just because she's finally apologized and seems to realize the magnitude of what she did doesn't mean you have to forgive her. And she doesn't seem ready for a real relationship if she's still holding out hope for something to happen with your dad. Best wishes, OP. I don't want her to only focus on me because she has bigger problems in her own marriage now. I'm fine. I have people here, so I shouldn't be her first priority now. That is a great attitude, but also please don't worry about being a little selfish. You're not an adult yet, and a parent's responsibility and focus should always be their kids to a certain extent. If you need her, don't avoid contacting her because you want to give her the space to focus on her struggling marriage. Wow, yeah, the mother is at least a bit delusional here, but it seems she's been forced to see reality now. Hope things get better for her going forwards, but it's a hole she dug herself into, and now she has to climb back out of. You don't get to do that kind of thing without consequences. You would think all those years of her daughter hating her would have made her see reality. Only her jealousy over her ex-husband made her see reality. At least she finally admitted it. This is the worst part to me. Her daughter's pain and hatred didn't matter to her, only that she lost her delusion of being able to go back to the relationship she destroyed when her ex started dating. That poor man scraped the bottom of the barrel when he found this lady. I'm honestly displeased that she felt the need to defend her father more than once. Those a-holes aren't worth her attention. In her second last post, she was referring to the original post in BORU. I did see people saying her dad must have been having gambling problem, or maybe he also cheated or he always had drinking problem. I saw a lot of them dogpiling in Opie's dad. The comments were ridiculous. People blaming his drinking even after Opie clarified multiple times that only started after the affair/divorce. Some people just want to stay on their bandwagon. Last story. Am I the a-hole for telling my dad's wife that +1s don't get accommodations? I'm 27 female and my husband welcomed our daughter 7 months ago. I do not live in the same country as my divorced parents, so they both separately came to meet the baby when she was born. My dad met her when she was a month old and hasn't been able to make it back since, so we planned a visit for later in the month and asked if he could bring his wife Anna, which I said was okay. Over the past week, Anna has been asking for an increased number of changes to the plans we've made for the week. She wants to go to different places, different restaurants. She even tried to change the dates to be more convenient for her. I was getting a bit fed up of this and told my dad numerous times that I'd planned things with him, myself, and my daughter in mind. So I didn't really appreciate Anna thinking she could mix and match what she wanted to do. My dad said he understood, but that still didn't stop him texting me with her requests, all of which I declined. Yesterday, she texted me directly asking if we could plan a day trip to a town an hour and 15 minutes away because she'd always wanted to go there. I told her I'm absolutely not going on a 4-hour round trip to a town I've been to 400 times with an infant, and if she wants to go, she must organize that in her own time. She responded that this trip was her own time, to which I said she is welcome to hire a car and drive there at any time she wants, but I will not be going. She said it wasn't fair that I hadn't acquiesced to any of her requests, at which point I got irritated and told her that +1s don't get to make the schedule, and that if she didn't like the itinerary, she shouldn't feel pressured to come. My dad blew up on me for saying this, saying I should have just asked him to handle it, and now I've upset her by insinuating that she wasn't welcome, which I don't think I did. I told my dad I'm not fussed whether she comes or not, but she is tagging along on this trip to see his granddaughter, and she needs to be respectful of that. He said that is not how she saw it, that she saw it as more of a communal holiday, and that I was harsh for what I said, and an a-hole for sticking him in the middle. Now for the top comments. Not the a-hole. Let's break it down. 1. You are a new mom, recovering from a birth still, and you and your husband have a 7-month-old infant. 2. Your dad's wife is making weird and unreasonable extra travel demands and pretending the trip to bond with your baby is her own personal holiday. 3. Your own dad won't even stand up for you and is mad you somehow put him in the middle? He is putting you in the middle by not standing up for you. Just know, enjoy your new little family, though I truly hope your dad comes around. I feel like your title is a bit misleading actually, and leaning toward your dad's wife's side. The real problem seems to be that she is trying to turn bonding time into her personal holiday. To be fair to him, he did tell her no to her previous requests when I said I wasn't happy. I think he wanted me to keep funneling communication through him so that he could manage her better. Honestly, this sounds like it's your dad's fault. He should have stopped funneling her requests to you when you made it clear you weren't interested in them, and talked to his wife about making their own touristy plans together or whatever in their free time in your country. Since I assume you didn't have your dad's schedule planned down to every minute, there's nothing stopping him and Anna from doing stuff. Anna shouldn't have texted you directly. She is tagging along on this trip to see his granddaughter, and she needs to be respectful of that. He said that is not how she saw it, that she saw it as more of a communal holiday, and that I was harsh for what I said and an a-hole for sticking him in the middle. However, Anna's viewing the trip is your dad's fault. He is the one who has communicated about this trip with her and invited her, so her perception of the trip is his fault. It's not yours and it's not necessarily hers. Your dad needs to compromise here with both parties, you and Anna, because if he wants to bring Anna on this trip, it sounds like he and Anna occasionally will need time to do their own thing, which is totally valid when you're traveling to a different country and want to do some different stuff. And with a 7-month-old, there will be plenty of downtime. He and Anna need to work this out without involving you. I agree. I probably do need to talk to him about that. But also, if she views this as her own holiday, I don't understand why she keeps making suggestions that I need to be involved in. If you have a restaurant you want to go with my dad, go. If it's your trip, I don't have to. Am I the a-hole for not paying any more towards our daughter's wedding after she cut pieces off her mother's wedding dress for her own? Original post. My wife made her wedding dress with her mother. It's very sentimental to her and she was very proud of it. It was simple but freaking gorgeous. She has always said she would love for our kids to wear her dress at their wedding. We had 3 daughters, 34, 30, 25, and 1 son, 28. My wife made it known that the dress was not to be altered, except to be taken in/let out so it could be kept and reworn. Our youngest daughter didn't wear it. Our daughter-in-law wore it for their reception and our son held it up against him for some pre-wedding bridal pictures so he wasn't left out. He totally rocked it. Oldest daughter wore it for her wedding. We've offered some financial contributions to all our children towards either school, a wedding, or a house down payment. Our daughter Olivia has asked for help paying for her wedding. The wedding is in the beginning of August. A few months ago, Olivia asked my wife if she could use the dress for her wedding and my wife gave her the dress so Olivia could get it fitted with plenty of time. Tuesday, Olivia asked me to go with her to pay some vendors. One of the stops was the tailor shop for a final fitting and paid a seamstress. Olivia was really nervous, and I figured it was just usual pre-wedding jitters and excitement. The dress Olivia came out in was not at all her mother's dress. It was a completely different dress with parts of her mother's gown added to it. She took the straps, the sash, the train, and the embroidered top skirt and had it added to this new dress. I was befuddled for a bit and then asked what the heck this was. Olivia's reasoning was that she was the last of our kids to get married and there wasn't anyone else to wear it, and she made sure to instruct they keep the original dress to be returned to her. I told her that's not the same. She knows it, and the dress was never hers to do with what she wanted. I asked the seamstress for the rest of my wife's dress and had Olivia tell my wife in person what she had done. My wife was devastated. I have since canceled the payments I made that day and told her I won't be paying another cent to her wedding. She and her fiancé can figure it out. Our youngest daughter thinks I've gone overboard, knowing Olivia planned her wedding with our help in mind, and without it she can't finish paying for everything. Olivia's future in-laws also agreed with that. They can't afford to help and suggested I should pay, and then we just go low contact with Olivia. I've told them both that Olivia took something irreplaceable from her mother for her own vanity. I know we originally offered to help with the wedding, but I think Olivia's actions warrant canceling that offer. Am I the a-hole? Now for the top comments before reading the updates. Not the a-hole. That was hugely disrespectful to your wife. The dress didn't even belong to your daughter. If they can't afford a big wedding without your help, then they can downsize the wedding. Exactly. It doesn't matter that your daughter is the last one to use the dress. It doesn't give her the right to destroy/alter it. She should have discussed it with your wife first, and then abide by whatever decision your wife made. She arbitrarily made a decision to ruin the dress. Not stay home. She might not even have been the last. What if there was a granddaughter that was especially close to her? Or she and Opie wanted to renew their vows and she used the dress? Opie is in no way not an a-hole here. Or God forbid she wanted to be buried in it, and her daughter just figuratively shouts all over it. The daughter ruined something her mother cherished because she wanted a better wedding dress. And why the heck didn't she ask? It's because the answer would have been no, and she's damn well aware of that. Don't be an Olivia. Not stay home. She tried the old ask forgiveness not permission for a reason. This is clear by her being really nervous to show you the dress. I'd imagine she also showed you first so she could try to soften the blow to your wife. This was premeditated, which makes her an a-hole. Due to her not respecting you or your wife with her choice, I don't think you're in the wrong for pulling your support from the wedding. Tell her she already has your entire contribution in fabric. Not even an ounce of me thinks this wasn't calculated. The dress may be salvageable, but it won't be the same. It won't be OP's wife's dress and the daughter just doesn't seem to care. She ruined something irreplaceable. She took what she thought was a calculated risk, but man, she's bad at math. Obviously not the a-hole, but the gall of the in-laws. They didn't butt in to be peacemakers for their soon-to-be daughter-in-law. I could appreciate that. No, they just wanted your money and openly admitted by suggesting low contact after. Olivia a-hole, in-laws a-holes, youngest probably just trying to help. You and your wife not the a-holes. Emotionally, it isn't the same, I know. But if you have all the pieces, a good seamstress can probably resemble it to look original. I got the original dress back, but not all of the pieces. Not without having Olivia take her dress apart. Best we could do is give a picture of what the dress used to look like and highlight the missing pieces to be remade. Now for the first update. Thank you everyone for the responses. My wife and I will look at more of them tomorrow and discuss the subject further. Just want to address a misconception. We have not gone low or no contact with Olivia. Her in-law suggested it, and that is insane. My wife's initial reaction to finding out Tuesday was not to go to the wedding. That was said in anger and not a done deal. It would probably depend a lot on Olivia's handling until then as well. Taking her dress she paid for would hurt our relationship with her, just as much as not paying for anything else. Which is why we are discussing our options and skimming comments for things we have not thought of and are doable. Now for the second update. My wife and I are reading as many comments as we can. She appreciates the concern and support. For those saying the dress wouldn't be worn again anyway, she has this to say. It's not about whether or not it would be worn again. If none of my children asked to wear it, I would still keep the dress for me. My mother taught me everything I know about sewing. We spent months picking out fabrics and doing trial and error on practice dresses as we made mine. It was mine. It was my one prized possession that held incredible memories for me. I've thought of having it put in my casket with me because once I'm gone, the person it mattered to is gone. However, I would have worn it again. Our 40th anniversary is in a couple years and I was very much looking forward to recreating our photos. It may seem like I'm choosing my dress over my daughter. I'm not. It is her deceit, indifference, and her blatant lack of remorse that I am hurt most by, and having a hard time with. It is the underhanded ways she thought to address the issue. It is the fact she will not apologize and have a conversation with me, but is only worried about the rest of her wedding items being paid for, and pinning it until after her honeymoon. I did not raise her to be like that. I would have loved to help her make designs for the dress she picked out if she had asked, and she knows this. I have never denied her help in her life, nor has our help come with conditions. Today we'll take my wife's dress to the seamstress that has the Franken dress to see what can be repaired. My wife has said the sash and train are most likely lost as the fabric of the gown was cut and the seams undone properly. Paraphrasing here, not up to sewing lingo. Unfortunately, even if it can be restored or parts of it, Olivia is currently not wanting to give up the dress after the wedding. She wants to keep hers and is imploring her mother to understand since she kept her wedding dress for so long. We don't want to lose our relationship with our daughter, but we both agreed there need to be consequences, and there isn't really any moving forward if Olivia isn't willing to budge on anything. Next story. Am I the a-hole for calling off my son's camping trip after he ruined a painting that I drew for my wife? I, male 39, married my wife, female 36, 4 months ago. I have a son named Elijah, age 16. He and my wife have this tension between them that started right after she moved in with us. He complains about how she enters his room all the time and invading his privacy and touching his stuff, but my wife says she's just cleaning it for him. He also complains from being forced to eat what she cooks, but my wife says she's just trying to get him to step away from unhealthy fast food and snacks, and get used to healthy homemade meals. The fighting became constant even before the wedding. Then at the wedding, he complained about being excluded from pictures and food he wanted to have, but my wife said she had nothing to do with it, and that Elijah was looking for something to hold over her head. Now, since we're on summer break and he has plenty of free time, I signed him up for a 2-week camping trip and paid for everything. He was supposed to go next week, but a couple of days ago something happened. It was my wife's birthday. As a gift, I drew a painting for her and gave it to her during dinner. Elijah started laughing for no reason, which made my wife annoyed. She told him he wasn't allowed to watch a movie later that night and sent him to his room. He wasn't happy with us, and he threw a temper tantrum and said he didn't do anything to deserve a punishment. Then in the morning, my wife woke me up yelling, saying the painting I gave her was destroyed with car oil. She kept saying Elijah did it. So I went to his room, and he admitted that he ruined it to get back at her for punishing him the night before. I lost my temper with him, then punished him by canceling his trip and taking the money back. He threw another tantrum, saying he had to do that after she punished him for no reason, and that it wasn't fair since I promised. But I said it was final. He started crying and called his aunt as a way to pressure me into backing out of my decision, but I refused. Now for the top comments. You're the a-hole. Your son has been telling you for years that your wife is overstepping, being intrusive, violating his privacy, and making him feel excluded from the family. And you did not one damn thing to help him. Instead, you took the side of the person who is treating him horribly every single time. You're an absolutely garbage father, and your son is going to dump you out of his life the minute he turns 18. My wife said was repeated several times. Is Opie even talking to his kid, or just listening to his wife? Since he is sleeping with his wife, I can answer that one for you. You're the a-hole. Your son is still a child and your wife is competing with him. First, she has no business parenting him. That's your job, not hers. Second, if he doesn't want her in his private space, that is his right. She has no right to invade it for cleaning or whatever else. Third, are you seriously trying to convince us that the bride had no say in wedding pictures? Fourth, you are a very bad parent for allowing all of this to happen without any reaction. Fifth, you guys need family therapy, and whenever your son accepts your wife or not, that is his business. The photographer asks for a list of photos you want taken with people and then you pick the ones you want. So saying she had nothing to do with it is garbage. Literally did this myself last night for my own upcoming wedding. Can confirm. The couple has full control over who gets their picture taken and when. If he doesn't want your wife going into his room and touching his things, why do you let her? Why didn't you make sure that your son was included in some pictures? Why didn't you intervene when he wasn't allowed to eat some of the food at the wedding? Why are you letting her parent your son when you know there's so much tension between them? Of course, he shouldn't have ruined a painting. Of course, he's an a-hole. But he's also a kid. You and your wife are, supposedly, the adults. It's unreasonable to expect a 16-year-old to de-escalate a situation that the two adults keep escalating. Everyone sucks here, but you in particular. I'm the bio mom, and I never went in my son's room without his knowledge or consent by that age. Laundry day? Just ask him to put the sheets in the laundry so I could wash them. If his clothes didn't make it to the laundry basket in time for washing, I taught him how to do his own. Stepmom needs to stay out of this young man's room. Dad is the a-hole. Now for the last story. Am I the a-hole for suggesting he has absolutely nothing to offer me? 30 female and I've been with my fiancé 29 male for 4 years now. We both came from absolutely nothing. Both grew up in foster care. Both had essentially nothing growing up and lived in poverty. I saw this as an opportunity for growth and breaking the cycle. So I save up and work my way towards a better life. Whereas he immediately spends his money on material things that he didn't have the opportunity to possess as a child/teenager. He is super materialistic, and I'm not like that. I like simplicity while he likes extraordinary. With that said, the material items he does currently have hold no value to me whatsoever. It's his enjoyment. Like a bunch of guitars, easily over 40, and recording equipment, and I don't play an instrument/have no use for them. Or he has a bunch of gaming PCs/computers/consoles or just electronics in general, and I'm not a gamer/electronics type of woman. I enjoy my books, paperback, old school style, and have more than I probably should. So, we are completely different people, and I love that about us. It does make things exciting, though I simply don't understand his need for all of these things. When we started planning for our wedding roughly 2 months ago, it started getting really fidgety and kind of weird, so I just stopped talking about it. I figured it was him getting anxious about the whole thing because he was always the type who said he didn't want marriage. It's just a piece of paper. He knew I did want marriage, so he proposed. I didn't think he ever would and never pushed the subject. I was super taken aback by it because I never thought that would happen. So anyways, he gets weird. I stopped talking about the planning because I didn't want to push it and scare him off. But a few days later, he says he wants to talk and brings up me signing a prenup. Which that in itself didn't really bother me because, well, to be frank, I have much more than him, and it would safeguard me. But then he made a comment, not trying to be a prick I don't think, saying, I don't want to lose all my stuff if we ever divorce. This is what angered me, because, well, now you're insinuating that I'm that type of woman after everything. And knowing that I am a very simplistic person who has no desire for material things. So I get a little heated, nothing extreme, and say, what exactly do you have to offer me in the event of a divorce? Your guitars that I don't want? Your electronics that I have no use for? I don't want your things. He immediately deadpans me and says, I can't freaking believe you would make out like I have nothing to offer. The truth of the matter, though, is that I have much more to offer financially. I would be the one losing in the end. I have a business. I own my home. I have a hefty bank account. While he has barely $9,000 saved and jumps from job to job. Am I the a-hole for suggesting he has nothing to offer me? So the dude brings the subject up, insinuating you would try to take his stuff, then gets angry when you say he has nothing you want? You are not the a-hole. He absolutely is. And you should consider that a red flag and be on the lookout for more. Those red flags are included in the prenup. She should get the prenup to protect her assets. And at that point where he sees that he gets nothing, he'll probably try and talk her out of it. Prenup, prenup, prenup. Have your attorney in on the making of this document. You need to be well represented because from where I sit, you have the most to lose. And just a guess here, but when he sees your asset list, he will say, oh, prenup? We don't need no prenup, babe. Get the prenup, otherwise you're the a-hole to yourself. You might also consider couples premarital counseling and a sit down with a financial planner to help work out how you and he will handle shared financial responsibilities. Good luck. I think you're looking at this from the wrong angle. If you're the saver in the relationship, he will profit from you in a divorce. Get a prenup to protect yourself from his spending. Opie recognizes this. What Opie doesn't recognize is the fact that her fiancé really doesn't want to get married. That is the largest red flag out there. Yes, he never wanted to get married. He proposed out of nowhere and is now manufacturing a big argument that's well known to be a relationship killer. Sounds like he feels trapped and is gnawing off his own foot now. Opie, you need to rethink being in a relationship with someone who doesn't share the same goals/values as you. I don't mean about different hobbies, but you and your partner have vastly different ideas about money and marriage, and your communication needs work too. You're not the a-hole for getting offended by what he said, but you're taking the low road and you need to pull up fast. Get premarital counseling. You need to discuss all the issues you're not on the same page with your partner on instead of pretending it all work out.